All right, guys, we'll finish up here with a look at Litecoin. Now, it's a little bit trickier here. Before we do here, I got to do this here. Last day, right? Just so you remember. If you're looking for these discount codes, you can always find them over on our Twitter feed. And then I had a lot of people taking advantage of the 20% off the indicators. All right, so keep that in mind as well. But this will run till midnight tonight. All right, just don't want you guys to miss it. Okay, there we go. All right, back to Litecoin. Oh, so off of the COVID low, I've got us at a 1-2. Now this, still seeking the 3 up here. Now there's a case that this may be done here, but I think there may be one more little pop up here based on what I'm seeing on this last internal. This is a tricky one here because we've got all of these deeper retracements here. So let's open this up. Let me go to a 2-hour here. Off of I think we've got a solid 2 here. 1, 2, 3. Now this is tricky, right? So I looked at this a couple of different ways. One thought is that because we don't have a clear 3, it could be A, B, C into a running flat. Possible, but I think the subdivision doesn't play quite as well because then you're going 1, 2, 1, 2, or so. I think it starts to distort it a bit more. So this is not bad here, right? So under normal circumstances, this might be a reasonable spot to be looking for it. And we're coming up, we got over the 1618, we got up beyond 200% the length of the 1. The only thing shaky is this is an awfully skinny ABC to get into a 4 here. But then the 1, 2, I can certainly get an impulse into that 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see it clear as a bell. So I've got to account for it somehow. I've got to, in some way, in some portion of the count, I've got to account for that impulse here. Well, shit, I didn't even label it. Probably should. It's not hard to spot it. Right? So looks like you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's take it down a degree. Go here and let's put it in. We'll put it in yellow so you can't miss it. All right, so I have A, B, C into the 4. Now, interestingly, we threaten the 1, but we don't overlap it. 1, 2, 3, ABC into the 4, and right down to the 233. We hold this. It's not to the tick technical, but it's not bad. All right, here's our 50. Got a nice pop here off of this, so this algo got paid, right? So you can see the reaction, but it keeps going. So I think it's more probable here that we go 1, 2, but then again, same thing happens here. Look at this 4 relative to this 4. It's deep, but we don't overlap the 1. So this is a candidate here to have one more kick in it. So if heavy emphasis on if that's going to hold as the 4, then I don't think we're done here because from this 2, well, shit, we could 1, 2, pick your 3, 4, 5. Looks like we can get that done as well. So you got to account for these. This is a little sloppy here. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it too much. Let's look at that retrace here. So from the 2 low, golden zone. All right, that should surprise no one. So let's dial it in a little bit better. From the low here, in this chop, right, up golden zone. So, right, no reason not to assume that we're not going to get that target, right? Until this breaks, you assume that you trade them until they fail, right? As I've said many times. So we get up here, so that might give us a candidate location for the 3rd here. We're still seeking the 3rd off of the COVID low, right? So this is the largest degree, 1, 2, still seeking that 3. Candidate up here. So if it's going to be here, if we get the algo target, right, that's a reasonable spot for it. Put us up at 190 for the 3. It's skinny. That's what makes you hesitate. It's skinny for an ABC. So it would have to be 1, 2's just gone in. The only hesitation is because of how shallow that is. But let's just zoom in there a little bit. We can open that up. So, of course, the risk would be we've gone A, B, and we're going to go deeper. But this technical pivot here gives me a little more confidence. So it's certainly possible we've got something along these lines. A, B, C goes in. Now we're going to go 1, 2. We're seeking 3, 4, and 5 to get up to that new high. So just out of curiosity, let's hold that one. Let's see how we do here. And so did we break there? It looks like we may have. So let's get right on it and right on it. Very slight break. So I would give you some pause as to whether or not you want to go hard here. A, B, C into the B. So look back this way. Looks like that's higher by a tick. Right to a 50. This slight advantage to the bears, right? That's enough of a break. You know, it's a question of how aggressive you want to be here. We could have one more leg down, but note what's going to happen. If we go one more, let's go back out to it now. If we go one more leg down and we get this target, well then we'd overlap the 1 here because this looks like a pretty solid impulse. Well, that may help us deal with some of this, right? So it might be you've got to go A, B, C into the 1, A, B, C into the 2, and then you'd have to run it this way. If it does overlap here, we'd have to run it like that. So an ending diagonal, which I don't love, but right now, because that's a golden zone here, I think you could stay with the idea that it's 1, 2. Now, once again, right, we don't have a great 3 into that 2. Let's see, even at the 15. Well, the 3 looks a little bit better here. We don't have a great 3 here. So if this is going to give us one more little pause down here to get into that, I like it all the better. That would just be a more conservative way to approach it rather than just go, up, buck 2's in, let's let it rip. Get that off of there. Looks like a good 3 here. Now, B. Let's see if we can get, if this is technical at all. Well, to the 50, second target, feels a little forced here. I think you could go for this here, but this has to be your stop, right? Because if we overlap that 1, then the count starts to break down. Then more than likely what you've done is you've finished up, the 3 up here is finished. And we'd finish it with a diagonal. So that would mean that this is the 3. This third is in, and that the 5 is in. And we're going to change the count structure just slightly. So it would be 3, 4, ending with a diagonal. So the 5 is in to complete the 3, and now we're starting on the larger. The next correction would be A, B coming down before we go again. So we'd be seeking now the 4 at this degree, but that's got a long way to go, right? Note on how far we'd potentially be going here if the 4 is still yet to come in. So even if you took this trade and you took a small stop, you know, this is not the place to be overly aggressive because the count is a bit unclear. But if we just tee it up from the low, if that were the 5 and we end up backing into a diagonal here, well, you're still looking for the buy, you know, within, you know, 10, 15 bucks. And you'd have some structure to play off of here with this as well. So where do we get a clean 3, right? We're kind of squeezing it in there here because, you know, you don't want to miss it, but that's the cleaner one. So if you want to be a little more conservative, that's the one to wait for. Get clarity on here because this could go either way. It's a little iffy up there. Sometimes I feel like people are just they want a trade. I wouldn't trade it. I'd wait for this myself. Right, just cleaner, right? Then you know exactly where you are. There's the 4. I've got a clean target. I know what I'm after. For me, I'll be patient, right? I got plenty of Litecoin. I'm not anxious. I don't. FOMO doesn't really affect me, right? So if yours, well, I've been a raging bull on crypto for so long that I'm not worried about FOMO, right? So so question is where strategically, where is the optimal place to add? Now, you may not get this, right? There's nothing says that has to happen, but if I did, here I'd be aggressive. All right, guys, there you go. We'll wrap it up there for the day. Once again, last day to do this, and there's nothing on the horizon that would suggest we'd be doing that again anytime soon. So if you've been on the fence, now's a good time to do it. All right, guys, have a good one. We'll be back tomorrow. Look at trads.